Sri Shankar Maharaj, Chapter 18. The Story of One Night. It was the year of 1946. Mr. G.K. Pradhan was in England. One day in the month of October, he received a telegram of his father's death. He was in deep grief. He was very sad for the fact that he was not able to attend his father's funeral. He was sitting alone in his room in sorrow. And what a miracle! He saw Sri Shankar Maharaj sitting just next to him. But at that time, Maharaj was actually in Pune in India. It was one of Maharaj's miracle which he often did using his divine power. Mr. Pradhan was amazed to see Maharaj in his room. He could not control his grief. He kept his head on Maharaj's thigh and gave away 2 tears. Maharaj hugged Mr. Pradhan and calmed him. Maharaj said, "My son, now come with me." Maharaj held Mr. Pradhan's hand and took him to Girnar mountain in India. By the grace of Maharaj, Mr. Pradhan met Saint Manchindranath, Saint Gorakshanath, and Lord Dattatreya and his 2 dogs. He had completely overcome his grief and was very happy. Sri Shankar Maharaj took him back to his room in England. The next morning, Mr. Pradhan's maid servant inquired in surprise, "Sir, I had cleaned and polished your shoes last night. Where had you been last night? Your shoes are dirty with mud, which is not of England. This looks like the one found in India. How did this mud get stuck to your shoes?" Mr. Pradhan was shocked to know that the whole journey to India and back again to England had taken place in a single night. Mr. Pradhan had no answer for her question because no one would believe him about the incident which happened last night. So he gave her a smile and walked away. After this incident, Mr. Pradhan got a picture of Lord Dattatreya painted in the same guise as he had seen him at Girnar. Once, after Sri Shankar Maharaj's Samadhi, Mr. G.K. Pradhan had visited Dhankawadi at night. Maharaj came out of his Samadhi and gave his divine glimpse to Mr. Pradhan because he was the most favorite devotee to Sri Shankar Maharaj. He had spent his maximum life with Maharaj. Every individual has got his own brains and its thinking power. Every thinking power has a limit. The time when your thinking power comes to an end, your faith and worship of God begins. Only by the grace of great ascetics like Sri Shankar Maharaj, an individual's life is filled with peace and satisfaction. Jai Shankar Maharaj.